Another big story this week that we've been following very closely. In fact, last week we had a lot of movement on this issue, and it's the debate over medical marijuana in South Carolina. Now, this is something that I've covered for a long time. In fact, I've covered the debate over not just medical, but recreational marijuana use. For a long time, my news outlet has editorialized in favor of legalizing both. Again, not just as a liberty issue, but as an economic issue. I think it would benefit the state in terms of its bottom line. Just makes good common sense. Also, it gets the criminal element out of the marijuana business, which again, currently, that's one of the big problems with violence in our state, and the violence linked to drugs and drug trafficking is that we've criminalized everything. It's sort of like what happened during Prohibition back in the gangsters of the early 20th century. So again, that's one of my reasons for supporting the legalization of marijuana, both medically and recreationally. Now, South Carolina is obviously taking baby steps in that direction. In fact, we had Senator Tom Davis, the lead sponsor of that bill, in the studio last week, and he told us that the bill that he's pushing only has 12 qualifying conditions for people being able to medically toke up, while a bill that was passed in Mississippi earlier this year had more than 24 qualifying conditions. So it's a very narrowly drawn bill here in South Carolina. And this week it was drawn even more narrowly. Senator Davis is working with one of his colleagues in the state Senate, Josh Kimbrell, a social conservative from Spartanburg, South Carolina. And I spoke with Kimbrell this week, and he told me that, yes, he and Senator Davis were working on a compromise amendment regarding how medical marijuana would be distributed in South Carolina under the new law. Now, currently there's a dispensary network which would dispense the pot. This has been criticized by law enforcement. They believe that this is setting up a structure that could very easily, to borrow the phrase of one advocate, flip a switch and create a recreational marijuana structure, distribution network, if you will. Now, Senator Davis is hoping to pass a bill that, again, avoids that sort of specter, and he has proposed with Senator Kimbrell an amendment that would allow pharmacists, and particularly the state's pharmacy board, to oversee the distribution of marijuana through this network of dispensaries. Now, do I support that? Again, I think the whole thing, from my perspective as a libertarian, it seems a little bit too restrictive, a little bit too government heavy, a little bit too diktat, top down. But again, I understand what Senator Davis is trying to do. He's a firm believer that politics is the art of the possible. In fact, he said that on our show last week. And so he's trying his very best to get a bill through, just like in 2014 he pushed to get a CBD bill through, which was South Carolina's first step toward, again, the decriminalization of cannabis for medical use. Obviously, this debate's still very much in process, very much in flux. I'm told by multiple senators that the vote count is very close. And I'm also told that there's some concern amongst these lawmakers about the nature of this debate, and particularly Senator Sandy Senn, Senator Greg Hembry, and Senator Billy Garrett. These are three lawmakers who I'm told have not been conducting themselves particularly well during this debate. And I'm going to be focused on those three senators a bit more in the coming week as this debate moves forward, because again, this is an important issue. We need to debate it fairly. We don't need to demonize those who disagree with us. And I'm going to have some words for those three senators coming up next week.